That is the cheapest political talk I've heard in St. Lucia in a long, long time. And I will tell you straight off, if that's the best the opposition can come up with, then it surely leaves a lot to be desired.
Communications Minister Guy Joseph is reacting to allegations made Tuesday evening by the political leader of the opposition SLP. Dr. Kenny Anthony alleges the government has sold Pointe Seraphine to an American investor named Namdar, one who is being investigated in Aruba for bribery of government officials. Tourism Minister Allen Chastanet admits that an agreement has been signed between the government and Royal Caribbean to develop the entire Castries Wharf that includes Pointe Seraphine. He says, however, that the deal is a partnership between the government and the private investor, not a buyout of the property.
My understanding is that the document has been completed. It now requires the minister and SLASPA to have one last look over and one last meeting with the Royal Caribbean people, which I hope is going to take place within the next 2 weeks. And then we're going to proceed. But the suggestions that were being made that the government was selling outright the Castries Harbor are erroneous and are mischievous again and are very, very misleading.
But it is with Royal Caribbean that Dr. Anthony alleges Namdar got his feet in the Pointe Seraphine deal. He says the Jewish businessman was approached by the company as a potential investor. For this, the communications minister had no reply.
And you remember a few months ago when Chastanet was hot, Royal Caribbean was investing in the port of Castries. Hot. Well, Royal Caribbean was supposed to look for investors. And they had discussions with this fella called Namdar. But they began to realize that this Namdar fella was a little too hot to handle.
I heard the connection being made between Royal Caribbean and Namdar. We have an MOU signed with Royal Caribbean, and it is work in progress for the development of the wharf on the Castries side. So I don't know that there's any agreement between Namdar and Royal Caribbean.
The ministers held a press conference on Thursday to clear the air on the Pointe Seraphine issue. Chastanet also explained the relationship between Namdar and St. Lucia.
There was an investment conference that took place in St. Lucia. Mr. Namdar was one of the people that came to the meeting. Mr. Namdar and his family have made investments throughout this region. My understanding is that they are the lead investor in St. Kitts. I know at once a time there was a relationship between Royal Caribbean and Namdar, but my understanding exactly to the minister's point, in that the MOU that we have signed, the lead agent is Royal Caribbean. And in that MOU, it really is to say what are the phases of the development going to be.
As for any proposals made by Namdar to purchase Pointe Seraphine or any other part of St. Lucia, neither minister knew for sure. Joseph says although a proposal was submitted by the investor, it was only seen by Investment Minister Rufus Bousquet, who rejected it.
A proposal was submitted, and it did not even make it to cabinet, because I think the ministers who got it knew that they would not even waste their time to take this document to cabinet, because it would not see the light of day.
If there is one message the ministers of communication and tourism want to leave with St. Lucians, it is this: the government has not sold Pointe Seraphine or any other part of the Castries Wharf. They say an MOU has been signed between the government and Royal Caribbean to develop Port Castries, one that builds on an agreement that was signed between the previous SLP government and the same company to only develop Pointe Seraphine. Carmi Joseph, HTS News, Channel 4.